Welcome to Caracomp Insider, where high-tech facial recognition meets real-world intelligence.
A facial match can read 94% and still cost a company 35 million euros. Not because the match was wrong, because nobody wrote down why they trusted it. That gap between a number and a reason is now one of the most expensive mistakes in artificial intelligence. If you've ever unlocked your phone with your face, you already live inside this technology. And if a scary headline about facial recognition ever made you uneasy, that instinct isn't paranoia. It's reasonable. But the thing most people fear about these systems isn't actually the real risk. The real risk is quieter. Today I want to show you what a face match score actually means and why a high number all by itself proves almost nothing. So why doesn't a confident match settle anything? Let's start with how facial comparison really works. A computer turns your face into a string of numbers, basically a mathematical map. Then it measures the distance between your map and another one. If that distance is small enough, the system calls it a match. But here's the part that surprises people. What counts as small enough is a setting, a dial someone chooses. Turn the dial one way, you catch more real matches but also more false ones. Turn it the other way, fewer false alarms but more misses. So a 94% score doesn't mean 94% certain. It means the result landed on one side of a line that a human picked. For you, that means the photo you posted last week could be matched against, depending entirely on how someone set that line, for what purpose. Why do we trust that number so easily? Because 94 feels like a grade, like a solid B that's almost an A. Our brains anchor on the single number and assume the machine did all the thinking. But there are two different kinds of error hiding behind it. One is when the system flags the wrong person as a match. The other is when it misses the right one entirely. A single score can't tell you which way the dial was tuned, or whether it was tuned right for this exact situation. This is where the article's best comparison clicks. A facial match is like a breathalyzer at a traffic stop. The device spits out a number 0.08. But that number alone never wins the case in court. The officer has to record the calibration, the conditions, the time, the steps they followed. The number is evidence. The paperwork is what makes it defensible. A face score is exactly the same. The audit trail is the calibration record. So, what does that paperwork actually look like? A real audit trail is a permanent, time-stamped log. Who ran the search, which version of the model, what the result was, and who reviewed it. And here's the uncomfortable truth from the article. Most artificial intelligence systems running today generate logs that capture none of that. For an investigator, that means evidence that won't survive a courtroom. For the rest of us, it means decisions getting made about real people with no record of why. And there's a clock on this. The European Union's new artificial intelligence law starts enforcing its rules for high-risk systems on August 1st, 2026. Break those rules, and penalties climb to 35 million euros, or 7% of a company's worldwide revenue. Here's the shift that changes everything. The 35 million euro fine was never about the algorithm being wrong. It's about not being able to prove you used it right. The accuracy was never the hard part. The accountability is. So let me leave you with the simple version. A face match score is just a number, and someone chose the line that number had to cross. By itself, that number isn't proof. It only becomes evidence when there's a written record of who trusted it and why. The fear most people carry is that the machine will be wrong about them. The real lesson is to ask whether anyone wrote down how it decided. Whether you carry a badge or just carry a phone, that question is now yours to ask. The full breakdown's in the show notes if you want the deep dive.
Now you know something most people in this industry don't. Use it. And when you're ready to put it to work, Caracomp.com. We'll see you tomorrow.